so many misses, you realized very quickly it was a fraudulent streak, right? We found out she was the most inefficient shooter in the entire league from within 5 foot. A lot of missed layups, a lot of offensive rebounds of her missed layups. And it felt like, and I said this very early on, and I think some people thought I was crazy. I was like, is it just me or is Cardoso being sidelined?
So by now, most people already know what went down with Teresa Weatherspoon and the Chicago Sky. This whole situation played out a while back, and it still gets brought up whenever WNBA drama comes around. Weatherspoon ended up getting let go from her head coaching spot, and once that happened, all kinds of stuff started coming out about what was really going on behind closed doors with that squad. The main thing everyone kept coming back to was Angel Reese and what she was doing to that team. Every big media outlet was pumping up this double-double run like it was groundbreaking stuff, something truly remarkable happening on the court.
Sidelined so Angel Reese can get those rebounds, right? Camila Cardoso, of course, very tall, can take up a lot of space underneath the basket, eat up rebounds. By the way, shoots very efficiently too, like in the 48 to 52 to 53% range, right? Much better than Angel Reese. Well, it felt like, is the coach sidelining her? Of course, we had Marina Mabry, who was.
But anybody who actually sat down and dug into the real numbers behind those stats knew the whole thing was built on nothing. Once people started looking closely at the breakdowns and tracking where all the misses were piling up, it became pretty obvious pretty fast that this was not the kind of run it was being sold as. Reese turned out to be the worst shooter in the entire league when the ball was close to the basket, missed layup after missed layup, and then grabbing her own rebound off the miss and trying again, over and over.
Mabry was discombobulated, discontent with what was going on with the Chicago Sky, and she wanted the hell out of town. By the way, she was a great three-point perimeter shooter and helped take the Connecticut Sun into the semifinals in the WNBA playoffs. She wanted out, all right? And it was about culture. So the other night during the WNBA finals, there was a picture taken.
The streak looked impressive on paper, but the way it was being put together was about as hollow as it gets. And that is where things started getting really uncomfortable to watch. Camila Cardoso plays center for the Sky, and she is tall enough to completely change the way the paint looks. She takes up a ton of space down there, and she actually shoots the ball well, sitting somewhere in the 48 to 53% range, way better than what Reese was putting up. But Cardoso kept getting pushed to the bench.
There's a picture taken. And to say that this picture got destroyed, and more notably, a lot of warnings were sent to Teresa Weatherspoon about Angel Reese, and of course, Angel Reese got dragged as normal. In regards to this picture, I mean, look, she's a coach killer at this point. It's only one coach, but let's see. Good luck to the next one. Good luck to the next one.
A whole lot of people started asking whether that was happening on purpose, whether the coaching staff was keeping Cardoso away from the basket so Reese could have a clear path to those offensive rebounds. It was a pretty hard thing to ignore once the pattern started showing up. Then there was Marina Mabry. Mabry was already fed up with everything happening inside that locker room, and she made it very clear she wanted out of Chicago. She was a sharp three-point shooter, one of the better ones on that roster.
I mean, we'll have to see if a good coach like Stephanie White ends up wanting to coach the Chicago Sky. I've got my doubts. So, Angel Reese's interaction with fired coach turns heads at WNBA Finals. Now, keep in mind, this was headlines just a while back, right? According to the report, 58-year-old struggled to keep the Sky, quote, schematically prepared and didn't use rookie Camila Cardoso effectively in the attack.
She ended up landing with the Connecticut Sun and helped push them deep into the WNBA playoffs. She just could not deal with the culture over there anymore, and she bounced. Reports that came out later painted a pretty ugly picture of the whole situation. Weatherspoon was described as someone who struggled to keep the team locked in during games and practice. The word was that she never found a way to put Cardoso into the offense the way she needed to be used.
So effectively in the attack. Had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to a needs of a few players. My goodness. I present to you said player, Angel Reese. This is a picture from Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. There's Weatherspoon right there, and there's Angel Reese. And to say that this picture garnered quite the response.
And the biggest hit was that she had completely lost the locker room. The reason given was that the whole environment inside that team had turned into one big effort to keep a handful of players happy at the cost of everyone else. The name that kept getting brought up every single time was Angel Reese. The real moment that set the internet on fire came during the WNBA Finals, though. Someone took a picture of Reese on the sideline, hanging out with Weatherspoon, the same coach who had already been pushed out because of everything that went down.
Quite the response is a understatement. This person just says, nobody gives a bleep. Yeah. My heart is so full at Teaspoon. Really? Because you got her ran out of town. This coach that you talked about how much you beloved her, you're the reason she's gone. And a lot of people noticed it. A lot of people. The alien is everywhere.
That photo spread everywhere instantly, and the reactions were brutal. People could not believe Reese was out there posing with the very coach she helped get removed. Comments were flying all over, calling out how shameless the whole thing looked. Some said Weatherspoon might never find another coaching job after the way this whole mess played out in public. The bigger conversation that started up was whether Reese is just someone who burns through coaches.
Everywhere. He's a me, Jar Jar Banks. Oh, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. Here we go. Angel's got to be one of the most shameless people on earth. She's the sole reason why Teaspoon got fired. I'll give you this. Smart basketball fans understand this completely. The disrespecting of the game-chasing double-doubles.
Only one so far, but the signs were already there for people to see. Fans started wondering if whoever steps into the Chicago job next, maybe someone like Stephanie White, would even want that headache. Because here is what kept getting pointed out. Once that double-double chase kept going, the whole team started falling apart. After the Olympic break, the sky basically collapsed.
But what is standing out about this whole game is Angel Reese being ejected. Let's roll the footage right now.
The fifth personal foul. Okay, so let's take another look.
Yeah,
that's where I saw what Laney was.
So as you guys just seen in that clip there, that was Angel Reese being ejected from the game late in the fourth quarter after receiving 2 technical fouls. And as for the whole situation, it's being reported that Angel Reese evening came to an early end during the Chicago Sky 88-75 loss.
The losses kept stacking up while the streak kept climbing, and the two things were directly connected. The dumpster was not just on fire at that point, the whole thing was fully engulfed. Reese also took heat for the way she carried herself on social media during all of this. Her posts were seen as extremely self-centered, all about herself with nobody else even in the picture.
Lost to the New York Liberty on Tuesday night. Reese was ejected in the final minutes following an exchange with the referees. It still remains to be unseen whether she will be fined for the interaction, but she might not have to worry about paying it. After all, Chicago Bulls point guard Lonzo Ball, who was in attendance at the game, offered to pay her fine as well. So guys, that's all the information that is being reported in regards to Angel Reese being ejected. No one knows why she got.
Some fans compared the level of selfishness to what guys like Terrell Owens used to pull off back in the NFL. Kennedy Carter and Diamond Shields also got called out as part of the toxic environment that made it nearly impossible for Weatherspoon to keep things under control in that locker room. The thing a lot of people kept coming back to was how simple the fix could have been on the court. Every single time Reese grabbed a rebound, there were open shooters sitting on the wings.
No one knows why she got ejected, but Chicago Sky head coach Teresa Weatherspoon spoke a little bit about the matter, but she also spoke about various things, more importantly regarding Kennedy Carter. Guys, I'm about to play the clip and come back with some commentary. Let's get it.
What was your view of the technicals, I guess, and the ejection? And did anybody tell you what the reasoning for it was?
I tried to get an explanation. I did not. I don't know to this.
Mabry was one of them while she was still there. All it took was swinging the ball out for a wide-open three. Instead, the ball stayed in Reese's hands, and she kept forcing more layups. The whole situation ended up being a pretty textbook example of what happens when chasing personal stats gets put way ahead of playing as a team.
What the reasoning for it was.
I tried to get an explanation. I did not. I don't know to this moment what has happened.
Camilla's obviously back in the rotation. We talked about that pregame, but tonight we saw Bree Turner and Michaela both, and Kaiser both finish with DMPs. So I'm just curious how you're continuing to work at your rotation and find that right balance.
We'll keep working at it. That's what we're here to do every day, is find out what it's going to look like, and we'll keep working. Camilla's doing great. Camilla's doing an outstanding job.
And looking back at it now, none of the warning signs were hard to see if anyone was actually paying attention. So by now, pretty much everybody already knows what went down with Angel Reese during that Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty matchup. The whole situation blew up across social media when the WNBA star got sent off the court for the very first time during her professional career, and honestly, it still gets people talking even now. Here is what actually happened during the closing stretch of the fourth quarter. Reese picked up her second technical foul, which automatically meant she was done for the night.
Look like, and we'll keep working. Camilla's doing great. Camilla's doing an outstanding job of making sure she gets on the floor and doing her job.
But just to clarify, there was no injury to Bree or Kaiser or Michaela that contributed to them not playing?
We're doing what we need to do to put people on the floor at the particular times that we do with the matchups that we have out there. That's what we're trying to do.
Steven and Julia.
Hey, Coach, what did you see from your defense in the middle quarters that was impactful when you are coming back from that?
That's kind of, I can't really hear exactly. I don't want to miss your question.
The Sky ended up on the losing end of that one, dropping out 75-88 against the Liberty. The ejection came right at the tail end of the game, and nobody really had a clear answer as to why things escalated the way they did with the officials. What made the whole thing even more of a story was that Chicago Bulls guard Lonzo Ball happened to be sitting courtside that night. He went ahead and put it out there that he would cover whatever fine Reese ended up getting hit with, so at least there was that little bit of good news coming out of the whole mess.
I can't really hear exactly. I don't want to miss your question. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I was just asking, what did you see in the middle quarters from your defense that allowed for you all to flip the deficit and come back in the game?
Yeah, there was a level of intensity that brought us back when we were down 18. We were doing all the little things correctly. If you saw it, the first quarter, they had like 6 threes. And then in the second quarter, they only had 1. So we started to really defend and doing exactly what we asked in the scouting report, the details of it all. You know, they're great from behind the arc. They made an incredible.
She talked about how Camilla was back working into the rotation and doing a solid job getting herself on the floor and handling her role. She made it clear that the reason Bree Turner and Michaela did not get as much playing time that night was not because of any injury situation, it was purely about matchups and where the coaching staff felt they needed bodies on the court at specific moments. When the conversation shifted to the defensive side of things, Weatherspoon broke down how the team managed to claw back after being down by 18 at one point. The intensity picked way up in those middle quarters, and the squad started doing the little things right.
They made an incredible effort to put the ball on the floor tonight and get to the rim. So we have to be better at keeping the ball in front of us and then guarding the arc. So what does that say? Be able to do both, contest the shot and be able to defend off the bounce.
Chris P. and then Julia.
Coach, that last possession, Liberty had no shot clock, but Sabrina got that 3 off at the end. Was there anything that you saw on that? Just kind of a iffy kind of a play?
She pointed out that the Liberty had been knocking down 6 threes in the first quarter alone, but by the second quarter that number dropped down to just 1 because Chicago started actually contesting their perimeter shooters. The scouting report was being followed, and the team was putting in a real effort to keep the ball in front of them and guard the arc properly. She also brought up the final possession of the game where Sabrina managed to get a 3 off with no time left on the shot clock. Witherspoon chalked that up to it being a Commissioner Cup game where everything comes down to scoring, so any shot at any moment made complete sense in that situation.
Iffy kind of a play?
Well, Commissioner's Cup game, saying it's all about points. So I'm sure that's what that was.
Thank you.
Julia.
Maintain that consistency coming off the
It was
bench.
constant conversation, with every player. with every one of them. It's constant conversation because these are the things that you're going to go through, your bumps, your bruises, and you want to know how they're responding to the bumps and bruises. Because tonight we felt like we could have had this game. It was just certain things that we did not do. So the conversations are constant for me.